collaborative services behind-the-scene extension of the enterprise. As I was noting earlier that outsourcing is not a term that is embraced today, but the reality is that organizations are both dependent on groups of teams that are outside of their organization that have specific expertise. I have a large client here in San Francisco that I've worked with several times. Their entire desktop support is based in Mexico, and their change management tool team is based in India. And I don't think that's going to change, and I think it's shared across the entire country and probably globally. So I'd like to have a comments from the panel. You know, how are things, we know where things were, how are things today? What's the perception of the outside world? And where are the key strengths, you know, for the Philippines? Because I do believe that the Philippines has become well known, not just, again, in voice, but in service delivery, and service delivery across a number of different areas. So it would be great to hear, you know, from the panel on that front. And as we pass the mic, kindly introduce yourself and give a little bit of background for the audience.
Good evening. I'm Armando Chavez. I'm the Business Development and Marketing Director of Terran Action LLC. I have to do a good job now because my founder is over there, Victor Barrios. I'd like to, first of all, I'd like to caution us that I think we're not allowed to use the word outsource outside the consulate. So, and I'd like to thank JR also for making the concept of outsourcing more exciting than it really is. Thank you for the good job. You know, he makes me feel old because he was the classmate of my youngest son in elementary, and he's sitting in the panel with me now. Anyway, Terran Action is an American-owned company that offers business processing and knowledge processing services. We like to think of ourselves as a boutique company. We fancy our agility and our ability to cater our services to the specific needs of our clients. People are talking about esoteric engineering designs and lofty goals. Our company, somebody has to employ the liberal arts graduates. So we offer them jobs in call center services. We have enhanced services in accounting and even design of call center management. And I think I have to look at my notes here. At any rate, one of the unique features of our company is that even though our services are in Manila, we are actually based here in the US, so our clients will have quick and direct access to the people in the US. Now, you were talking about collaborative services and where the market is headed. What are the unique advantages of the Philippines versus other service providers? We've talked about the ability of the Filipino to speak with, I guess, less intrusive accents than maybe the other countries. Even our high educational literacy rates. I think what we're overlooking is, as far as the U.S. is concerned, the fact that we are very attuned, we have a natural affinity for the American culture. So the way they think, we're very familiar with the way they think. And in fact, we like to speak the way they speak. So after Caliber has weeded out the F's and the F's, I think we are very easily understood by the American customer and the American client. So I think that is one of the biggest strengths of the Philippine call centers. The other strength that I have noticed personally is we tend to be a lot more patient with what might otherwise be considered stupid questions. So I have had that experience of somebody's trying to explain to me for over an hour something that is probably very elementary to him or her, and something which is too complicated for my mind. So those are the strengths, and that's what's probably driving, that's what's made us the number one outsourcing country now, I think. Apologies to the Indians in the crowd. That's all I have to say right now. So.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Pineda. I'm a co-founder of Scrub.net. Scrub.net is a knowledge-based outsourcing company focusing on finance and accounting. It was founded about a year ago, actually 2 years ago, and started actual operations in terms of hiring and then building up a clientele base here in the United States about a year ago. So we've grown from one manager around April of last year. We've grown to about 25 people back home. So in all respects of the word of our stage, it's a startup. And so we've also developed a clientele base from a handful, which I was personally doing back in the days, to about 50 clients right now. So I was born and raised in the Philippines, and I spent about 10 years in the States, and then a huge part of me has always been, to spend time here in the States and then bring back home whatever it was that we can actually bring in order to sort of like help in terms of just by way of employing people, just by hiring and then training them, and then in the hope of sort of like helping them become like world-class professionals that can service and rival some of the best companies that are actually playing out here in the States. And so from a collaborative standpoint, we have a lot of insights on these because when we started having our clients, our services started literally from just simple accounting and bookkeeping work, and then you have to prove your way and work yourself out in terms of serving clients, whatever their needs are going to be as it revolves around finance and accounting. And so it is important and key that they would view you no different than, to the extent that they can view you not as an external or a third party, and that you're fully integrated into their operations, into their workflows. That is really, in my view, the key to it. And so as a result, in our young stage as a company, where we started just merely doing simple accounting or bookkeeping work, we have engaged certain companies that, or the work that we do is so integrated that all the way to board level reporting, lender negotiations, the whole 9 yards as it involves back office accounting and finance, we're actually involved and integrated. And then what we've done as a company is that as those service deliverables and our capabilities has expanded, it also allowed us to sort of like venture into other means that are of high value. And so I think we've known all about aspects of outsourcing involving call centers and then medical transcriptions and stuff like that. But I think what we've seen over the last few months, even in just our experience, in that the market has evolved so fast and so rapidly that for as long as you can digitize something and then have a way to be able to communicate effectively with your clients, then more often than not, it can be outsourced. The outsourcing model is not new to anybody. In fact, probably China about 30 years ago in the manufacturing sector, that is an outsourcing model where it used to be done here in the States, just by way of economic factors, did not allow the companies to do them as efficiently as they would over here. And so the service sector, the voice, the call centers, etc., this is sort of like taking from the same model as the manufacturing sector and then just translating that into how a company can actually extend beyond the core services that they need. And as a result, I think we're proud to say that there's a lot of startup companies over here. A lot of them would actually need much needed dollars. I think where our value proposition has come in as an outsource provider is that we take away sort of like the pain that they have to go through by way of like accounting or finance back office, and then allow our companies to focus on what they do best, which is really growing their business. And then, part of also the value proposition as outsourcing companies that we do is that we save the cost. And it's not so much as that you're taking jobs away from the States. It's sort of like the money that you save from the companies by not having to hire a full-time controller or CFO or a bookkeeper over here in the States. That savings translates into money to hire the next engineer or the next marketing person in order to help the startups of the world or those that are trying to jumpstart their business, focus more of their resources to the core of really building the business.
So you brought up some interesting points here. You were able to ramp from 2 to 25 employees, 0 to 50 clients. You're in finance and accounting. Can you describe some of the nuances? Because I would expect from a finance and accounting perspective that there's a certain level of training, certification, that sort of thing, depending on where your clients are. I don't know the mix from a geography perspective as where your clients are, but there's that element, right, where you need either a CPA trained accountant or whatnot. So can you describe, and then second, I'd like you to follow up from a competitive landscape, why they chose you and who were their other choices?
Right. Thank you very much for the question. Absolutely a great question. So where our workforce is, I think this is common knowledge to everyone. Like in the Philippines, the labor, especially from a finance and accounting side, the CPAs are there. The good news is that even from half a century ago, like the Fortune 500 companies have been in the Philippines, probably earlier than that, right? And so as a result, whatever practice that they were doing out here in the US, they were able to train, not just like on the operations side, but all aspects of the company's operations, including accounting. And so what we have done is that we're located, by the way, in Angeles City, which is about an hour north of Manila. What we have done is that as a company, as a local company established over there, we have given a value proposition to a lot of our staff. So then we tend to take them away from Manila. Because if you ask a majority of the people out there living in Manila, especially those that are coming from the provinces, they would say, if I have an option or if I have a choice to actually do work in the province, I would definitely do that. And that's sort of like the story that we've repeated probably about at least 18 out of the 25 people that we have, just because all of a sudden there's this company that is able to sort of like start catering and giving them a career opportunity rather than just a job and not have to grind it out into the hustle and bustle of the city. And so most of them would have background from like a Unilever or a Chevron or an IBM or something like that. And if they were managers or accountants in these companies, when you present to a US client where the credentials are coming from, insofar as the people that are actually going to be doing the service, it's an easy sell, at least from that perspective. And then the other barrier that you just need to get through is that how well they communicate. Obviously, there's still some cultural differences that you have to go through at that point in time. And so you just introduce them literally and then just have them go through an interview process. And I think for the most part, that's sort of like what we've done in terms of like a business model.
So how do your clients discover you? That was the other question. How did they find?
That's an interesting question. Without having gone through a marketing campaign, in JR, we're going to be talking, I'm going to put my company into your portal so that it expands a little bit more. Believe it or not, what we have done is just essentially by contacting old friends and friends of friends and acquaintances. We have not literally gone out to market. And to have grown the company over a short period of time, over those many number of companies and individual clients that we're working on, it's just been really tremendous. It goes to say that there's a huge market out there. And I think, you probably tend to think that I'm divulging competitor information. No, the idea is that, me and my partner, we have a big heart of sort of like even after graduation, before even we went to the States, let's go back to the province, right? And the driving force is that to the extent that we can spread that message, and this is sort of like the other part of the company that we're trying to build, in that what we're trying to do is to spread the word, and to the extent that it can help out in terms of jump-starting local economies and stuff like that, that's really the vision and the goal that we wanted to do at the end of the day. Yeah, just friends and families, friends and acquaintances, and then I think over the months, that word goes out and they refer us to their colleagues. I think that we're at the point where we're ready to actually start scaling it up in a more meaningful way. We work literally out of a farm. I think a couple of the people in the audience have been into our little farm out there. So it's literally a garage, which we just enclosed because we needed a space to work on. But